Here is a book that's called Focus on Finance, a look into Ontario's finances. The book is a little bit dry, but the author's not. He's Dick Fedeli, who's a PC finance critic. I mean, you wrote this. I scanned through it this morning. Just give us an overview of it.
It reminds us what all of the experts in Ontario are saying, from the credit rating agencies to the Canadian Federation of Independent Business. All is not well in Ontario with our finances.
Why not?
Because we have a spending problem. We spend more than we take in. We use a credit card instead of a debit card.
Now, if the Minister of Finance was here, Mr. Sousa, as he said yesterday after the budget, he has his tomorrow, it's going to be all about investing. We aren't spending, we're investing. And a lot of people say, well, we need infrastructure. We need to spend on things like that. What do you say to that?
All of the other provinces, for the most part now, have balanced their budget. We had a 9.2 billion deficit, grew to 10.5 billion, grew to 10.9 billion. We're going the wrong way. We still spend far more than we take in.
So how's that going to impact us? I mean, most people right now, I dare say in Ontario, they're not paying attention to it. They don't really care about it. Yep. So why should they?
Because the Auditor General told us that they don't change the way we're going. She called it, we're going to crowd out the core services. So here's an example in North Bay, my hometown. 94 healthcare professionals fired, including 54 nurses, 43 fired from Ontario Northland, 54 fired from the university, including 22 professors. They don't have the money for the core services.
So how does Ontario continue to exist?
Well, it's hard.
The provincial government.
It's hard for...
They're borrowing?
They borrow money out in the markets.
And it costs more because of the credit rating?
Our credit rating, which was lowered last year by Moody's and by Fitch, sent our borrowing rates up. Moody's recently downgraded us.
You're a politician. So people say, well, politicians are always critical of the government because they want to be in there. So how are you going to bring it home to Ontarians that, indeed, what you're saying is that the government is not to be trusted? They aren't doing the right thing. Is there going to be some agency who's going to say, we just are not going to lend you any more money?
It's the Auditor General, I think, the one that we should all be listening to, when she said you're going to crowd out the services if you don't change the way. And so we've seen diabetes testing strips canceled. Those are the things that hit home. Physio for seniors canceled. We saw cataract surgeries cut by 39 days. Those are the things that are hitting home today.
So, but somebody watching and listening right now to you say, well, you know, we have to spend more. I mean, if we're cutting back services like that, then we have to spend more.
We're spending it on the wrong things. Think about this year, the Mars building bailout, $400 million. It was done in secret. Those are the things that they're spending money on that we only find out about too late. They're spending it in the wrong areas.
Okay, about spending. There's a story in the National Post this morning, fascinating story about the ombudsman in Ontario. He lives in Ottawa, works in Toronto, and he gets paid for all his flights and everything else. I read that, I said, most people, when they take a job in another city, they have to move to that city. The average working guy would move. What do you say about this situation?
First of all, I was surprised to see the story. I don't think as MPPs we were aware that that was happening. But he makes a compelling case that he compares himself to an MPP. He says, I'm an officer of the legislature as well. MPPs are paid for that,
MPPs
and I should be as well.
Have writings. They're supposed to be in their writing to know what's going on. He doesn't have a writing.
I'm not defending him. What I'm saying is I'm glad there's now disclosure of that. It was not something we were aware of before.
Are there a lot of things in Ontario? I mean, we're talking about the hydro agencies. It just seems that it's out of control, spending. $500,000 here, $500,000 here.
Yeah. That's where the average family rolls their eyes, and they lose faith in the politicians. They lose faith in Queen's Park because of these kinds of stories, and I don't blame them. There's more of that.
Somebody wants to read this, how do they get it?
They can go to fedeli.com.
Always good to chat with you. Thank you very much.